Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. I, of course, am here chatting with you about what's going on in the world with the mortgage world, rates and pricing, all that good stuff. My name is Hammer. I am the founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. You can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We're using the backup ghetto camera. I left my phone down at the house, so that's what I usually use to get that nice clear picture, and not using it today. So anyway, good morning, y'all. I'm still here and glad to have you. If you are here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching the replay, don't forget, just give me a little hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you've been watching. And if you would like a reminder so that you could join us live, if you'd like a text alert, you could sign up at hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code over here. If you're on your phone right now, take a screenshot. You can go back to your photos and that QR code will work. So let's see who's here this morning. Ron Siegel says today is National Chocolate Day. National Chocolate Day. And I can get behind that one. We could throw a question today on that one. What is your favorite kind of chocolate? Chocolate, dark, milk, white. And what is your favorite chocolate treat? So that is the question of the day. I'll throw it up down on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Siegel. Ron Siegel says, today we celebrate National Chocolate Day. Question today, what is your favorite kind of chocolate? Dark, milk, or white? What is your favorite chocolate treat? We'll come back. We'll talk about those towards the end of the show this morning. So anyway, Ron Siegel said, I'm old. I need reminders of everything. I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I need reminders as well. So if you're here this morning, say good morning. Speaking of reminders, let me give you a quick reminder. If you'd like to sign up for our email lock advice, we send out an email each and every weekday morning at www.ratelockadvice.com or use this cool QR code. We also have a great text alert service, www.ratetextalerts.com. You don't have to spend a lot of money to look at the fancy charts. I know I go over the charts with you every morning, but at the end of the day, the charts really don't. You can come here and see the charts and then just get the texts for anything that's going on. So check those out, and we'll keep you posted on that as well. So, all right. Well, let's say hi to the live folks, and then we will go ahead and get started. Remember, tell me, what is your favorite kind of chocolate? Siegel says today is National Chocolate Day. What is your favorite kind of chocolate? Is it dark, milk, or white? And what is your favorite chocolate treat? What is your favorite chocolate treat? So good morning, Michael Scott Love, Mike Tebow, Mo from Loans with Mo. Is that Loans with Mo? Is that, I can't see the picture. It's so small. Is that, oh boy. Anyway, I'm blanking. Forgive me. Good morning, Yasmin, Nicole Semerad, Brendy Brickler, Tom Deadmore, Rob Stewart, Megan Bissell, Angela, Tiffany Teal, Amy Blauser, Will Patterson, Nicole Semerad. Good morning. Trying to see. Good morning, Leroy Romero. Good to have you here. Janisha, great to have you. Tiffany, Kelly, great to have you guys. Great to see you. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get to the screens while y'all are telling us all about your favorite chocolates. So quick recap of what happened yesterday. Let me roll this over. So right here is everything that happened yesterday. I'm going to put this on 5 days so you can just kind of see where we've been. So you can see this is the 23rd, the 24th, and then we jump to Monday. So basically, this is the line of last week and this week. Last week, we came down. We did improve a little bit. This was mainly due to that. Started out, it was the inflation data, even though it goes into kind of a check mark. Yesterday, we had a nice round of improvement, which is a great sign. Great to see that we have a nice round of improvement there. And this morning, we're kind of holding steady. So yesterday when pricing came out, let's put this on Tuesday. Yesterday, pricing came out. We were right around 101.22. Right now, you're around 101.35. It's actually about 12, 13 basis points higher than where we were when pricing came out yesterday. So that should improve rate sheets a little bit. We were off just a bit from where we were. Remember, the best levels were at like 6.17. Now we're up to about 6.19. I mean, really, there's just no change. It's just such a small difference there. But this morning, it'll bring us back to that 6.17, 6.18, because we are up about 13 basis points. Also, you'll notice that we are up 2 basis points on the day. So from where we ended yesterday to where we are now, we're improving in the right direction. And then for the 10-year Treasury yield, 3.995, that would actually round to 4.0. However, it is great that we are seeing anything with a 3 handle, even if we have to round it out that far. We're staying below that 4% mark. Yesterday, we ended the day at 3.98. 3.98. 98. All right, so 3.98, dropping back below that 4% mark. So that was a good sign. It's very good as long as we see that kind of stay below there. So, all right, here's your last chance to vote. I'm going to throw that off there. So today we celebrate National Chocolate Day, and we want to know what is your favorite kind of chocolate and all that good stuff. So, what else we're going to talk about today? Tomorrow's Fed meeting, the labor market, and does anyone care about the government shutdown? Does anyone care about the government shutdown? It doesn't seem like that's the case. So right now, rate sheets are just a little bit worse than last week, but holding again, as I showed you over here, we are basically about the same as where we were. Just a very small improvement this morning. Should be like 6.18. Maybe it'll match where we were at 6.17, but really no change with that. Reprice risk on the day is low. Not expecting any big moves ahead of tomorrow's Fed meeting. Things are quiet. Yesterday, when we saw that improvement, by the way, Matt Graham on here on MBS Live, he's much smarter than me, but he said that he felt this increase was due to the auctions and the Treasury auctions. However, I don't think it was, because the Treasury auctions, if we take a look here at the economic calendar and we look at what time those Treasury auctions were yesterday, one was 11:30 and one was at 1 o'clock. So, so 11:30 and 1 o'clock, but yet when we look at the kind of improvement here, 11:30 was here, and then 1 o'clock was here, and then we just kind of kept improving through the whole day. Once we had our low point, we just kind of improved through the whole day. I think this is just more of a bond drift than anything. I don't think there was a big improvement there. If we take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield, let's take a look real quick at that. 11:30, arguably it did go down after 12. 1 o'clock here, it didn't go down again until after 2:30. So I don't see that same correlation and that same behavior as Matt does. But who knows? Maybe that was it. Maybe that's why. So in the meantime, we're going to be watching 101.35 is a big deal, because we are above that 101.30-ish, 101.29, 101.30 mark. And we want to see if it closes above that. Yesterday, it was 101.33. So we did barely bust above that 101.30 mark right there yesterday. And we want to see if we can do that again today. And again, it's too early for that to have a huge difference, because remember, we're going to see the Fed meeting tomorrow, and that's going to wash all that out anyway. But this is all just puts us in a position where we can go ahead and float. And there's not, there's really just no urgency to lock at the moment. Even with tomorrow's Fed meeting, it's going to happen in the afternoon. We have time to react to it. So we want to basically cautiously float everything into the meeting at this point. There's just not a lot of concern as we float into it. I don't know that the Fed meeting is going to help us, but we don't have a lot of concern over where we are. And when we take a look at the Fed meeting, right now, market's still expecting same thing. Let me jump on my screen, even though I'm not as zoomed in as let's move this over. And let's move this. There you go. So right now, taking a look, you got expectation of a rate cut tomorrow is 100%, right? Markets are totally expecting to see the bond markets totally expecting to see the Fed cut rates tomorrow. The question is, what will Powell say about December? And that's kind of lost a little bit of steam. It's down below 90% for a second rate cut. Because again, right now we're expecting market pricing, expecting the Fed to bring that down to 3.75. And we can see that we've actually lost a bit of ground. This has also been up close to 100%, now below 90% that's there. Ron said Matt had to have something to fill his nearly 4-minute video, so he spent time discussing the bonds. Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I just saw the commentary. Absence of data. Let's talk about the absence of data a little bit. Randy. Randy said, in the absence of data, where are we at? And I'll show you absence of data. You got a few things going on. So first of all, the Fed, there's a lot of opinion out there. It's funny because everybody said the Fed is waiting too long. And then now you still have people out there. This is the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal saying the Fed should pause in cutting interest rates, and basically just saying that unemployment at 4.3% is in line with expectations and their mandate of maximum employment. But, inflation is still a problem at 3%. It's running for a year. It's running, above that 2% mark. Now that's the CPI, not the PCE, but they don't, the idea is that inflation should be at 2% in both of those reports. So, Fed officials, including Jerome Powell, have argued the balance of risk has shifted to the labor market rather than to the risk of inflation. And there's some question about the legitimacy of that concern and if that's really true and where things are at. So, but markets, again, still pricing in the idea that we'll see a cut in October. That's almost a guarantee, and still very strongly pricing in a cut in December. January, it's still neck and neck. So there's a little bit of movement, but not a lot, right? A little bit of movement. If we do see a lockup after the Fed meeting back up to a 90% improvement, it gives a little bit of a potential boost to rates, but not much. There's really not much room for rates to improve from here. We need to see that 10-year Treasury yield drop 3.8, 3.75 to really see any kind of room for improvement with mortgage bonds and for rates. So we need to see that drop down. Right now it's at 4%, 4.0, and we need to see that drop down to like 3.8, 3.75. And that's a big drop with a lot of friction between now and then to get there. So it's not that likely that we'll see that. Some other interesting things to catch on to. This was talking about the government shutdown. So obviously the people that are not getting paychecks are feeling the pinch of a government shutdown. Pretty soon, SNAP benefits in November will not be paid. And although I'm sure there is a lot of abuse to that program, I'm sure a lot of people could talk about what is purchased and that people can live without soda and Pop-Tarts and things like that. But there are a lot of families that are using SNAP. And so they're going to feel the pinch. But there's really, when you look at the front page, we have to go into the opinion section to find anything about the shutdown. When you look at the front page, there is nothing about the shutdown on here. This UPS posts strong profit and cuts jobs. This is a problem, guys. This is why we're going to see an issue as we roll into where we're at. The cuts to its permanent operational workforce marked a 70% increase from its previous target. That is just insane. That, the fact that they are cutting 34,000 jobs as we head into the holiday season with, an abundance of shipping is pretty crazy. Amazon cutting 14,000 jobs. So we're seeing the labor market soften, but companies are making money, and the productivity, it's being said that AI is going to allow them to maintain the productivity. So, but when you look through here, there's nothing at all about the government shutdown. Nowhere on the front pages. Same thing with the Wall Street Journal. As we go through here, there is nothing about the government shutdown. Amazon laying off workers, UPS cutting workers. This one says 48,000 jobs in management and operations. Management operations means AI. Company disclosed it would cut 20,000, and this is 48. The other source said 70, right? So, but what you don't see here anywhere is any talk of concern about the effect that the government shutdown is having. That's a problem, and it's unlikely to end anytime soon because they're not feeling it. So back to this article and what it would take to see that government shutdown, be a big deal. Maybe we see a walkout as we get closer to November. Maybe we see a walkout of TSA agents. Maybe it's a walk off of air traffic controllers. That's kind of what's got to happen. And again, I don't care which side of the aisle that you want to blame for this. And there's arguments on either way. And some of them are very valid arguments. Some people would argue the Democrats have to protect the, affordable care benefits. And some people would argue that it's the wrong time and they should allow the budget. And all of these arguments are valid arguments. But at the end of the day, there's nothing happening right now that is really causing any pain in Washington to see this end. And it's unlikely to end. So we're not likely to get November data. We're not likely to get November BLS data. And the more that we go without gathering data, the more we'll see. Ron says, I watch the local news at 4:30, moved to the business channels at 6. Local news has nothing about the shutdown. Since you're in Cali, you have to assume it's being blamed on the Democrats, as we never get any anti-Dem news in California. It's being blamed on both sides, but yeah, the Democrats probably are being blamed more than others. SNAP, ATC, air traffic controller shutdown will get ladders that impacts moms, kids, and travelers. And that's probably when it'll happen, Ron. You're 100% correct. It's going to take that. And unfortunately, people going without getting paid is just an unfortunate leverage point in this whole thing. And again, I've said it right from the beginning. It's the common people that get hurt. Randy says, all my creditors are running banners asking if I'm affected by the shutdown. Yeah, I see that for Wells Fargo, if you're affected. I guess they want to make sure that they're working with people to not go behind on bills and coming up with something. So thankfully, maybe that will help alleviate some of the pain that some of these families are going to feel, and individuals, of course, that are going to feel. Ron said, well, Powell will speak about tomorrow when he tells everyone they're data dependent. And he'll be asked a lot about what are they going to, we know what the questions will be. What are you going to use for data in lieu of data with the shutdown? The Fed, I don't remember where I read it, but the Fed, there was, I forgot which Fed region it was, but I think might have been Chicago. Is Chicago even a Fed region? They had put one out about employment and unemployment, and they calculate that it's right at 4.34, right as expected, even without the data. So I don't remember where I have that. It's on my phone bookmarked. I think it was in Bloomberg. When I look at bookmarks in Bloomberg saved, they don't. It's funny, from the app, they don't always come through onto here. So maybe it was in this part here where it talked about truck safety, government workers. I'm just looking to see. It's funny. This was an interesting take. Marcin, who is here we go. Marcin is Republican operative, Barrett Marcin. His political environment is a perfect combination of the not Washington bubble and battleground state that absorbs its fair share of partisan advertising. His read, people outside DC care more about the NBA gambling scandal and what the real meaning of 6-7 is than whether someone in the Bureau of Labor Statistics is showing up to an office. So impacts to daily life in Arizona seems scant. I think it's that way across the board all over the place. So we'll see a lot of interesting questions about that one tomorrow, how to be data dependent. All right, well, let's answer the question of the day and see what you guys had to say, and we'll wrap it up. So question of the day, what was your favorite kind of chocolate? Mine is dark chocolate. There was an interesting Discovery Channel, History Channel thing about Hershey and how he made milk chocolate and why he made milk chocolate. That was actually pretty cool, but I'm not a big milk chocolate fan. White chocolate's not even real chocolate. It's the butter, the cocoa butter from actually. So kind of a neat thing there, but let's see what y'all had to say about your chocolate and love of chocolate. What was your favorite chocolate treat? Nicole Semerad, dark chocolate and brownies. I'm with you. I'm going to Nicole's house. Mo says milk chocolate. Megan says dark chocolate. Dark and Reese's peanut butter cups, the dark chocolate ones. Tim, dark chocolate. Tiffany, milk chocolate. And Janisha says all of the chocolate. Kelly, dark chocolate. Brandy, dark chocolate. Milk all the way. And am I pronouncing that correctly? I probably asked you this before. Is it Janisha or Janicia? Please let me know in the comments. ESIA, Esia, or Janisha? Because I could read that either way. So Jerry Avila is a dark chocolate with almonds. So you are looking for Mounds and Almond Joy together, right? Yeah, Goolsby at the Chicago Fed came out with their own report. They release twice per month. Thanks, Ron. I knew I had read that. I just couldn't remember where. I thought it was Chicago. So dark chocolate, 70% is great with a good wine. Angela's looking for milk and dark chocolate. Janicia. All right, good. I was saying it right. Thank you. Thank you. Just double checking. I'll probably ask you again in the future because I do that. I kind of forget, but thank you, Janicia. And let's see. Looking to see what else we got for locking logic. What does Fed talk about? My locking is I would float into the Fed meeting, keep your options open because it happens in the middle of the afternoon and we have time to react. The Fed meeting minutes themselves, they're going to cut rates by a quarter point and we're not going to see a strong reaction at 2 p.m. Everything will be reaction to Fed Chair Powell's press conference at 2:30 p.m. So there you go. All right. Randy said, wife brought me chocolate from Switzerland. Hard to beat. It is. Swiss chocolate is the bomb. Cadbury's milk chocolate. Good morning, Alan Christian. So, all right, my friends. Deb Dickinson says, that's Loans with Mo is Monica Dinkins. All right. Yeah, I don't know why. See how it does that now? It gives me your YouTube channel name, not your name. It's very frustrating. I'm going to ask the support why that's happening. Salted caramel brownies, pretty much all good chocolate, not that cheap Easter bunny crap. Yeah, I'm with you. So, all right, my friends. Well, thanks for joining me. Appreciate all of you. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about the Fed meeting and everything that's happening then. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.